Countdown. 5 minutes. Da da da.
Here we are once again.
No.
No? We're not singing?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
And plus, that wouldn't that clash with the music that's on the countdown? Because I can't hear the countdown from where I am, but I know there's music on it because I made the countdown video.
And I don't 100% know how much the countdown behaves.
What do you mean?
How clear it is when we're talking over it. I don't know how the levels are sometimes. I haven't.
I checked it that first time, and it was the music was a little low, and I told you that, but then I didn't follow up and check it again after that. So I should probably do that after this episode.
Because I was just wondering just now. I was like, wait a second. What if it's actually coming across, considering we're breaking out the stream, the voices? I thought about it after that. I was like, wait.
Wait.
I don't know.
I'm gonna find out. You are live right now.
I am.
The intro video. Hello and welcome to 35.
Well, so
Manifest faith, hope, and love for the
you know,
modern.
I can completely hear that.
I'm Pastor Bill, and I'm joined with my co-host, the wonderful Pastor News.
But I'm having trouble hearing it because you're talking.
Well, we're live,
I know we're live.
so people are talking and then hearing what we're talking about after we're talking about it. No, I don't mean in our live going out, because I can see those levels bouncing.
Oh, I see.
I mean,
What do you
in
mean?
the actual podcast that goes out. The actual, because we take the two. I like the two. We take the two tracks, and we merge the two tracks together. But the two tracks are just your voice and my voice. I don't know about the. That's what I'm wondering about. But we can check it afterwards.
Or we can check it now.
I mean, yeah, but that's not very riveting television.
We're not on television.
It's even worse radio.
The intro video. Hello and welcome to.
There's music on it.
Episode 35.
No,
I pulled up the actual podcast
Oh, last time.
of last week.
Okay. I thought you pulled up the one right now, because I said the same thing in the beginning. I didn't realize intro video right as I was starting
You
it.
said intro video at the beginning of the last one. Yeah.
And this one.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I pulled up the actual podcast of last week. Not the video, not the live video from YouTube, but the actual podcast.
because I don't ever listen to our actual podcast now. I used to every week.
Well, yeah, because then you had to talk about it, but you weren't actually on it.
Right.
Yeah. So this is our 336th episode
And?
for the Berean Manifesto. What do you mean, and?
Why do you say it like that? You said it like it's special
'Cause
somehow or something.
It is. There's 336 episodes. That's a lot of episodes. Zadie on Twitch goes, y'all do know we can hear you, right? Tell me you haven't been on time to the live recording of the podcast for the last 3 weeks without telling me you haven't been on time to the live recording of the podcast for the last 3 weeks.
Zadie is not always on time for things. She blames me, but I don't know if it's me every time.
Zadie says something makes her feel old. What makes you feel old, Zadie? On Twitch? Zadie on Twitch?
15 seconds.
For what?
The
It's
countdown.
already been 5 minutes?
Yes! Because you were playing with things. 5 seconds.
Oh, that's... 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 36 of the Breen Manifesto, Faith, Hope, and Love for the Modern Christian. I'm Pastor Bill, and I am joined, as always, by the ever-magnanimous first clerk of the Pastor Nooms, all the way from Tennessee.
I'm going to
Why
bed.
you shaking your head?
I'm going to
you got
bed.
so many hats you're wearing.
I'm going to bed.
All these hats.
I'm going to bed.
Yeah, so we were talking on the intro. This is our 336th episode for the Breen Manifesto, which is a lot of episodes. That's a lot of content. That's a lot of time. I mean, magnanimous. Yes, magnanimous. That's a lot of content. It really is.
It is.
And most of those are 10-minute episodes, and then when we switched to this format, they became 1-hour episodes. So as we progress, it's going to be even more content. An insane amount of content. So, how was your week, Pastor Nooms?
It was pretty good.
Yeah, week 2 of the Ferengi Commerce Authority in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Week 1 of a new installment of the current story arc.
Yeah.
In our Star Trek game.
Yep. Another week with another story arc without Worf, and
no.
I have words to say that aren't appropriate for the podcast on it. So, I don't care about Riker. He's a cool dude, but just don't care.
I really hope, they dropped that William Riker character. I really hope halfway through the month they're going to drop another update and change him to Thomas Riker and be like, haha, we tricked you guys, since the character they dropped is anti-Federation, and that makes no sense for Will Riker to be have an anti-Federation ability. But it does make sense for Thomas Riker to have an anti-Federation ability.
Yeah.
So, we got H. Puff Phoenix joining us on Twitch. Hey, Phoenix. Zadie. Don't know if Biggs will be with us. Didn't he just get back from his trip? He's probably relaxing.
I don't know. I was at his house earlier today. He got back on like Thursday. Wednesday.
Okay.
I don't remember. But no, I was over there today and yesterday.
Okay.
So,
okay.
How was your week?
How was my week? Unfortunately, one day I went to Walmart and they didn't have those motorized carts. And I said, you know what? I don't have to get very many items. I'll walk it. And then I couldn't walk the rest of the day. Could barely walk the next day. Could hobble along with a cane. And now today I can walk, but I got to take it slow. So that was a big mistake. Thinking that I could walk the breadth and length of Walmart for 20 minutes and not have any repercussions.
And it's your hips and knees, isn't it?
It's my hips and knees, but then it also ends up causing my back to hurt as well, because my back tries to compensate, and then I try to hold myself up on the shopping cart, so my shoulders get all tense. So it ends up causing a lot of problems. But yeah, it mainly starts in my knees and my hips, and then just kind of spreads up from there. So yeah, the knee thing, I was born with a condition that it's a rare knee condition called loose kneecap. So basically, my kneecaps kind of float instead of being solid and keeping the joint solid. My kneecap kind of floats. So then when I bend my knees, instead of being solid, the two bones have the freedom to go like this on each other, this floating, rubbing thing motion around in circles, instead of just being a solid bend And that has that caught up with me when I was working at Gateway Church, and I was going up and down those stairs every day over and over and over again to clean the auditorium floors. That's when it caught up with me. The doctors were actually surprised I didn't show up in high school, and I was like, well, I didn't play any sports. I mean, I was on marching band, but that's basically just walking. And they were like, oh, well, yeah, if you didn't do any sports at all, then I guess that makes sense that you don't know that you have this condition. And then the insurance company tried not to pay for it because they were like, everyone who's ever been diagnosed with this gets diagnosed in high school. So this is a pre-existing condition. And I was like, nope, never seen a doctor for it. And they were like, oh, okay, our apologies. We'll go ahead and pay for that then. Which was weird. I expected a lot more pushback on that, but they were just like, oh, okay. Biggs is here. He got onto the wrong broadcast somehow on Twitch. Did you get on one of ours at least? But that was old?
Or no, he was watching some other two fat dudes talking about stuff.
It was an older one, but I was wearing this shirt, so like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. You did wear that shirt like 3 weeks ago. Father's Day, you wore that shirt.
Did I?
Because you didn't want to be formal that day, so you were just like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Pride. Biggs says pride.
What about pride?
Ha, same shirt, my wife says.
Yeah, so she's watching.
I don't know what Biggs is saying about pride, but...
I don't either. All right.
Okay. So now it's time for Get to Know the Pastors. And you had something you wanted to do during this segment, is that right?
No. I wanted you to get your cards out and to start.
Okay, I'm getting my card out. He was like, do you want me to tell you now, or do you just want me to blindside you when it's time? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, it'll be better if I blindside you. And I was like, okay, we'll go that way then. Yeah. All right, the card for today is...
No, it's not. So this little card right here is the card for today. And it says, if you could invent a pair of glasses that would allow you to see abstract things, the motives behind someone's actions, what would you want to see most of all?
That is so in-depth. Read that again.
If you could invent a pair of glasses that would allow you to see abstract things, an example, like the motives behind someone's actions, or what they're thinking, or, something like that, what would you want to see most of all?
Like what abstract thing would I want it to focus on?
Yeah, what would you want to be able to see?
Or what would I hope I saw most people were driven by?
No. What would you want it to focus on? I know, it's a weird one. I don't like it too much. I think I would want to see the person's greatest motivator. Like, you know how every person has a, this is my main motivation in life? I would want to see that.
I would want to see trauma.
Their greatest trauma?
No, I would want to see when they do something, was that inspired by some trauma? How were they hurt? What hurt you that made you respond that way? Because then I could come around with compassion and actually put myself in their shoes.
I was going to say, if you wanted to see their greatest trauma, that's messed up. Like,
not see it, but see what, when they do something, see if that was trauma-inspired, trauma-based.
Yeah.
You know? Was that because they really are, a total jerk, or was that because I did something that triggered a trauma memory and they're reacting out of self-defense?
Nice. That's a smart one.
That's
So,
what I would think.
this is what happened. Yesterday we were out and about, and Tina and Zadie and Phoenix saw these. It's this little chat pack thing,
Okay.
and they were like, "We got them for you," and I was like,
I love it.
"Why? Why did you get them for me?" And they were like, "For the stuff that for the the segment where you ask questions. Now you guys have multiple things to pull from." And I was like, all right. And I pulled the first one, and it was pretty good. And then that one was good, but complex. Like, it was...
Complex. So they didn't get those for you. They got those for me.
Yeah. Pretty much. So what I thought we would do is trade off weeks.
All right. So you get the even number episodes, and I get the odd number episodes. Because this is 336.
Sure.
So you pull the card. And then 337, I'll pull a card, and so on and so forth.
Sure. That is accurate, yes.
Okay.
I was thinking we would just trade off weeks, but...
But this way we can actually keep track. Like, whose week was it last week? Well, was last week an even number episode or an odd number episode?
I see your meaning.
See, because I can't even with you, and you're at odds with most of the stuff that I try to...
I'm at odds with most of the world. But I can't even with you. That is accurate.
What? Mr. Groggy, you're late, but how could you have rated me?
So what he means is...
You're in my alliance.
No, what he means is... Mr. Groggy actually streams.
Oh, does he?
Mm-hmm. And so what he means is he should have rated us by basically sending everyone who was watching him before he wrapped up his stream so he could come join us.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah, you basically go, okay,
I've never heard that term.
I want you guys to all go here.
I see.
And do it. So, yeah.
Okay.
We're ending the stream,
Yeah,
but go see this person.
Cool.
You know, that kind of thing. I don't know the exact...
Totally should have done that.
So, and I'm not sure why Zadie said for the Horde, but okay.
For the Horde!
Nope, not today.
What?
This is my whole mood right now. Nope.
That's your whole mood today?
Not today.
Did you get that shirt yesterday?
I didn't. I got it at some point in the last weeks at Walmart because I've just been trying to yeah. What do you mean Nooms is still playing? I'm not playing WoW right now. No, it's not for the Horde. I am
Nooms doesn't like the Horde.
I'm an Alliance player.
He doesn't like the Horde. He likes Alliance.
Sylvanas is a word person.
Hey, it wasn't always Sylvanas though. He's getting on to you because you're still in the Star Trek game.
Oh no, yeah, I'm still playing Star Trek. Don't get me wrong on that. That's right here. It's funny because so if I look over here, I'm actually looking at the broadcast information. So I'm looking at the chat client, I'm looking at what you guys see to make sure all those types of things, right? All the things that are going on. So over here is the actual teams, and the reason, so I put the game actually directly over Bill's face. So when in this, it looks like I'm looking to talk to Bill. I'm not. I'm talking to like the bottom of his elbow and like some other stuff. But I try to make sure I do it because then it looks like I'm looking at him because of how the stream works.
And my setup, I put I'm on my phone, and so I put it to where what I see of Nooms is to the right of my camera, and then I put our Discord chat to the left of my camera,
Mm-hmm.
and then down here I've got my laptop, which just then streaming to my monitor, my second monitor, and I've got eSword up down here, and I use it to type into the Discord, and so that's.
I do have my eSword typically pops up on top of the streaming stuff. So.
Yeah.
And
then you got your camera, an actual camera.
Yeah, it's dead center
there in the
between the two
middle.
monitors. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I've got my microphone. I've got this pulled down for looks, but I've got my actual microphone over here. My blue mic.
So this right here is then my work computer.
Yeah.
This setup with my work board up here. So.
Yeah.
And that's Tina's
Cool.
desk over there.
All right. So this week we're talking about friendship.
Yep.
Phoenix, you like that, did you? Yeah. This microphone is just for looks, so it doesn't look like I'm just wearing headphones. This microphone works. It's not connected to anything right now. It's just pulled down. Hey, it's not for anything special. It's not as awesome as the blue mic, but
somehow the mic that I'm wearing right now is better than my blue mic, because my blue mic is actually the lower version of blue.
Yeah,
also.
You got a USB blue mic.
Yeah.
I got a studio grade XLR that I had to get a compressor to power, which they didn't tell me when I ordered it that I would need a separate compressor. So then I had to order a compressor.
In case everyone just saw, because it got broadcasted out, Teams can't hear me when I mute to take a drink. And so I muted myself, and Teams went, "I can't hear you." Thanks. Go away.
Thanks, Teams.
It's going to happen again.
Roxanne on YouTube says she's sitting in front of her TV playing Fortnite with us on her right-hand side, but we can't see her, so it doesn't matter. Although I could take my phone in there because she's just in the living room here in the same house as I am. And then you would be able to see her. What do you think about that, sweetheart? Would you like me to bring the phone in there and show everybody
let's
our kitchen and our living room and you sitting there playing Fortnite?
Let's not walk through your house with your phone.
So now, my Phoenix says they do see that pop.
I know.
That's funny.
It's because we had to adjust slightly because of the jerking thing. I unfull screened you, hoping that would work. And it technically didn't, but that changed the ratio slightly, so it makes it to where they can actually see that. So every time I take a drink from that drink, that now is going to go out. So.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to tell you, now my Teams is doing to your incoming video what your Teams was doing to my incoming video earlier. Yeah. So Teams is doing some weird stuff with aspect ratios this evening, changing the aspect just like this ever so often, just tink 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 tink, and it's like, why? Oh, Biggs, if you're on fire, you need to stop, drop, and roll, bro. As I agree with the statements I've heard online. As much as we heard stop, drop, and roll growing up, I assumed catching on fire would be a lot bigger of a deal than it is. Like, I've never caught on fire.
I have. Twice.
Yeah, but twice out of how many years? Out of a long time, right? I'm 39. I've never caught on fire, and I'm like, I thought having this information would go a long way.
So I've caught on fire twice, both times.
I said once to know if you stopped, dropped, and rolled
while cooking. No, I patted, because it wasn't a full fire. It was just like it So I was in a Dallas Cowboys t-shirt, like just a gray t-shirt, and I was cooking Italian bake for someone. And I leaned over to stir the sauce and leaned back and kept cooking the meat. And I guess it was a gas stove in an apartment. And when I leaned over, there must have been a little bit of flame coming out of the pan, like from the side of the pan, and it caught the bottom of my shirt right here when I was skinnier. So it wasn't a fat thing. It was during the internship, the skinniest I've ever been, and and was like, and so I leaned back and I smelled burning, and I kind of did like this, and then realized it was my torso, um, of my shirt was rapidly, whooshing. Um, and so I just hit myself a bunch, and then spent the rest of the night in a crop top because the girls cut it for me, so that way I could keep my one of my favorite shirts. But it sits right here now, like, and so I have a crop top Dallas Cowboys shirt in my drawer that I will only wear as a joke because
That's hilarious.
nobody wants to see that.
Yeah. I've never been on fire. I've melted part of my belly before with baking grease while trying to cook French toast using baking grease, and splashed it up onto my stomach, and but never caught on fire.
The other time was much more minor. It was just like, ah, and it was done.
Everybody wants to see your crop top cowboy shirt.
It's not happening. It is
Everybody
not
on
happening.
on chat.
It is not
Roxanne on
happening.
YouTube.
it is
Groggy on Twitch.
It is in. If Tina brings it to me, I will change shirts off camera. And
Phoenix says you need to wear it to Pride.
I will. I gotta wear my free hug shirt to the actual Franklin Pride on the 31st, and then the Murfreesboro Pride in September.
I might design a different shirt by then, but if not, then yeah, you'll have to wear the free hug shirt. I don't have a free hug shirt anymore. I made mine into a canvas.
I thought you made one of the kids or something into a canvas. I didn't know that was yours.
No, I retired mine. That's mine.
Oh. I did not sign up for the Burrow one yet. I need to look into it, and I know I'm supposed to.
I requested to get put on the wait list for the Ecclesian House.
For that was the Nashville one.
Oh, for the Nashville one? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I think we'll just attend the Murfreesboro one.
We may end up just attending the Nashville one. They haven't replied to the
That's not it.
application I put in. So.
That's a tank top. That's not a crop top. Yeah, I agree.
All
it
right,
looks
Biggs.
a lot smaller.
All right,
On I thought it was the child's too. I'm gonna say I didn't say it. I'm glad he did.
Actually, the artwork doesn't change size for the different size shirts.
Oh, it doesn't?
It's the same size there as it is on all the other shirts.
Oh. So there's just a lot of fabric behind it.
No, I cut all that fabric off. And there was a lot to cut off. I'll give you that. I'll give you that one, yeah. All right, so tonight we're talking about something that Nooms doesn't know how to, doesn't know anything about. We're talking about friendship. And friends really get each other's backs and defend them, and they don't call them fat and talk about having to cut extra. I'm playing. Friends.
I say this
each
as
other all the time.
I say this as the largest I have ever been. Let's be honest. And I had a bowl of chips for dinner, so I mean I can't really.
Right. So I ran a little experiment recently. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm not going to give you the actual numbers, but I'm going to tell you the results. So I weighed myself at my mother's house on a Wednesday, and I took note of what my weight was. And then I spent a week where I drank almost no Dr. Pepper whatsoever. Okay? Almost no Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
And I gained 6 pounds. So then I spent a week where I drank at least a liter of Dr. Pepper every day. A liter. Do you know how big a liter is?
Yes, I see you drink them all day.
Yeah. I'm going to show you. This is a liter of Dr. Pepper. Okay? This. I drank at least one of these a day for a week. You want to guess what happened?
You lost weight.
I lost 8 pounds.
Do you want to know why? I can tell you why. It's easy.
Everybody's got an explanation.
No, it's the sugar content. They did a study in the 90s with rats, right? And if you give rats unlimited food, right? And then diet sodas and regular sodas. The rats on the diet sodas ate more because they felt like they were not getting, their bodies felt they were not getting enough sugar. So because they were already addicted to the sugar because sugar's in the food. So they would continue to eat more. The rats on they use Coke, but whatever. On the Cokes ate less food because they were getting their sugar elsewhere. That's why every now and then a cookie is not bad. But a whole bowl of chips is.
I see.
Me, I need to cut out sugars for a different reason than just weight loss, though. My sugars need to be cut out because when I don't, I then sound like this. Which is how I have felt all week, where I can barely move and everything hurts so bad I can't see straight. But, anyway.
My knuckles can do that too, but for a different reason. And not as intense as yours, but
Ooh.
The same thing about my kneecaps. It is true about my fingers. So
yeah, that's a different pop, definitely. That's
different.
Why are you playing with the dog in my office right now? Go on. The child drugged the dog into the office, playing with her with the rope. It's like,
You do know I'm live, right?
No.
There's like billions of people watching right now.
There's not millions. There's 4. But,
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. I had a B on there. I said billions of people, not millions of people. Don't roll your way out of the shot. You said your desk behind you was a mess. It don't look like it's a mess.
That is, yeah, it is. Look, I got chains on there from where I didn't put them away last night. I've got gloves. I've got.
Did you wear gloves last night?
I've got the stuff to hang my axe. I've got.
Well, that's been there for 2 weeks.
I've got. It's still a mess. And when my chair's in front of it, you can't see. I've got my 2B red books that just keeps getting taller because I keep not doing it.
I've got two Red Boo books up there from the Time Lord Victorious series that came out last year.
Yeah.
Big says he got no new knees, no more pain. When my knee problems started and I went to see the osteoorthopedist, however you use that, whatever the term is, he told me that there was no knee surgery that could fix what I was going through, that they could do knee replacements.
That's what he's talking about, is new.
Yeah, but that he didn't think at my age that was a good idea. So
it's because I keep moving around, so my camera keeps zooming in and out. I know.
Now my chiropractor has really helped me lately, building up the strength in my my calves and my thighs, so that my knees don't cause as much problems.
That's good.
Yeah. So I've been doing some leg stretches and working out my knees more to strengthen all that up. But
I have not been
And
going.
I'm walking around Walmart for 20 minutes, and then I can't walk for 2 days. So
Yeah, it now your screen's doing the auto adjusting thing on my side.
is it?
It just did it 3 times, but maybe not. So the aspect of I ever since I work from home and sit here, it's just we went out yesterday to a block party um for this arts place. I don't remember what the arts place is. I don't even remember what city I was in. But somewhere here, it was their first Pride event. They did a block party, and we went, and standing for the majority of the day um, was non-conducive. I came home, took a bath, and went to bed. Um, Columbia. It was Columbia, Tennessee. Yes, thank you, Mr. Groggy, because I don't remember where we were. Mr. Groggy went with us, so. But we have
Cool.
Franklin Pride on the 31st of this month, um, and it's kind of interesting the differences of cities. Um, the groups are much different from Dallas Pride to the things that are starting here, because like this was the first year for Columbia. It was the first year for one of the other cities. It's the, only the such and such year for, and it's like Dallas Pride's been going since the 80s. So
Yeah.
it's a much different community of friends. See what I did there, guys? I
Saw what you
went
did
back
there.
to the topic. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Nice segue, man.
Also, I'm
All right.
disappointed. My head is not tanning as fast as I thought it would. I don't go outside much, but my head is so white. Don't like it. That's a side note.
You could just stop shaving it.
Then you could still see the cabinet behind me just as easily. My hair's not as pretty and full as yours still is. I don't have floppy curly hair no more. I've got, hey look, the wall's behind me hair.
The Phoenix is like, I've said friend 3 times, and y'all are still off topic.
That happens. No one should be surprised by that in this. Something's dinging behind me.
Uh-oh. Golden Girls theme song. What is the Golden Girls theme song? I don't remember this. Of course, we can't play it because
It's fine. We can look it up afterwards, sir. Because if you start it on your computer, I might pick up the sound and then we'll get booped.
thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me. That's the words to the Golden Girls theme song. All right. So this week we're talking about friendship. And it's interesting when you're talking about friendship. I was doing, just a little bit of looking into the ideas of when we talk about friendship and some of the concepts philosophically about friendship. And Nims, what are you doing on your phone?
You started
Your
reading.
face.
You started reading Golden Girls, so I went away.
Have you just been sitting there with your phone glowing at your face, waiting for me to say something?
No,
So you could deliver that line?
I actually was wondering what the notification was that I got, and then you gave me a reason to pick it up and check, and then I started reading something. So.
I see.
And then I forgot we were live for a second, and then you said something.
I just look up and you're holding your phone and your whole face is lit up.
Because I was like, oh, that's interesting. Let me go ahead and just get that real close and be able to read it right. And
All right, so I was looking at Proverbs chapter 18, verse 24. And I found this verse in and of itself has some interesting details, I think. In the CSB, it says, one with many friends may be harmed, but there is a friend who stays closer than a brother. But then in some other manuscripts, some of the younger manuscripts, it says one with many friends. Let's see, what does it say? But friends must be friendly, I believe is what it says. Instead of may be harmed, but friends must be friendly. So it's an interesting that it changed in concept. Friends must be friendly. And so this particular proverb, Proverbs chapter 18, I was trying to figure out, well, who wrote Proverbs chapter 18? And it's kind of like flipping a coin. I found some results that said that it was, in fact, David. I found other results that said it was, in fact, Solomon. Either way, we're talking about a scripture that was probably written sometime between 715 to 686 BC. Now, wrap your head around that. The younger number there, or the lower number there, is actually closer to us than the higher number, because we're talking about BC. And then there's this kind of popular phrase that people use where he who has many friends has none. Or a twist on that is a friend to all is a friend to none. And I was trying to figure out where that phrase came from, because I've heard that a lot enough that I thought maybe it was in the Bible, which it's not. And so I was trying to figure out, well, where does that phrase come from? And that's actually attributed to the teachings of Aristotle. And this is one of those things where this is why I'm interested in like, you know, that you and I had talked about that circular chronological timeline thing, you know? And then we looked at it and we were like, this is way more expensive than either one of us wants to invest in a poster.
Yes. No, I know what you're talking about now. Yes.
Yeah. And
Bill, you might want to tap your phone or something for a second. You've been frozen for a moment.
How now? Am I good now?
No, now you're catching up.
You've got a friend in me.
Okay, there, now we're caught up. Yep.
Okay, my phone caught up. So Aristotle actually lived. Hold on, I have it pulled up here somewhere. Aristotle lived between 384 BC and 322 BC, which means by the time Aristotle was teaching this concept of a friend to all is a friend to none, or one who has many friends has none, the concept had already been written by King David or King Solomon 3 to 4, maybe 500 years previously. And then Jesus wouldn't be born for another 300 years after that. And then Jesus gives us the ever popular, what is it? John 15:13. No one has greater love than this, to lay down his life for his friends.
Yes.
Right? So, we're talking about friendship. And that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. You know, what is a friend? And to me, I've always been stingy with that title.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people will be like, "Oh, we're friends, right?" And I'm like, "Well, we're acquaintances." Well, what do you mean by that? Well, if you and I stopped working at the same place, would we still be what you call friends? No, I guess not. Well, then we're not friends. We're work acquaintances. We, you know, this is a situational acquaintanceship. Can you put these references in Facebook, in the Facebook post, so we can go back and reference? Yeah, I'll put some links to Aristotle and to an article here that I'm doing some quoting from, and what verses we talked about. I'll put those all in the Facebook post that is this video as a comment. So people would ask me, you know, we're friends, right? And I'm like, well, have we ever done anything outside of work?
Mm-hmm.
If we stopped working together, would we still be friends? Well, yeah, H.P. Phoenix says, no, I mean the Bible verses. And yeah, I'll put the Bible verses too. Big says, see who will help you move. And that's not always a great indicator, because some people physically can't help other people move. And other people will just show up for the free pizza. But yeah, there is, and that is one of the concepts that Matthew Henry was talking about in his assessment of Proverbs 18:24. Is it's not necessarily friendship as in your relationship to your neighbor where you are friendly, but when you need something, are they there to help? Are they there to support? Are they there to follow through? And you and I, Nooms, we talk about friendship evangelism, right?
Yep.
And you build a relationship with someone, you build it to the point where they are a friend, and you open up those doors to where you can then impart the gospel to them. You can then, you know, take the next step of leading them towards Christ. And I've seen you play this out in your industry. Excuse me. You had that one friend from India. And that was, you know, that was friendship evangelism playing out, you know, right in front of our eyes. And H.P. Phoenix says, like big life events, are they still there or not? Or, you know, when you go through a mind-altering event where your perspective has changed and you need the support of a friend, do they support you? I know that's something Phoenix can relate to with what's been going on in her life. Who can she count on to support her when she's going through all these things about her perspective on life? And that's her deal to give him more information on if she wants. I wouldn't want to give him more information on that, just because I'm a personal kind of person. But and things like, if you move across the country, are we still friends? Are we still going to talk? Are we still going to, you know what I mean? And sometimes you can't. I get that. And with technology, though, nowadays, it's a lot easier to maintain friendships from a distance. And I personally, so let's put on our alternative Bible thinking hats on. I personally believe that David wrote Proverbs 18. And the reason I believe this is because I believe he is referencing here his covenant relationship with Jonathan, the son of Saul, whom the Bible says that David loved Jonathan more than any woman he'd ever loved, and Jonathan loved David more than any woman he'd ever loved, and that they were more than friends to each other. It doesn't say what that is, but there is that one moment in the Bible where I swear if it was in a movie, you would be like, I swear these characters are about to kiss. I swear they're about to kiss. And then they don't, or at least it doesn't record that they did. And you're like, oh, I could have swore that was getting all romantic. You can do what you want to with that. But, yeah, I believe that's what he's talking about. There are relationships that you can have that you can choose these people who will be closer than blood family. And that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's definitely, you have some, you know, it's kind of like there's lots of statements about it. But it's like that whole, you can't pick, you pick your friends, you don't pick your family, you know, and then things like, you know, the water of friendship is stronger, the water of the covenant is stronger than the blood of family, where we get the blood is thicker than water statement from, which is completely opposite of what the statement actually means, but that's beside the point. But yeah.
I think blood is thicker than water is actually half of that statement. Aren't they the same statement? Just people cut off one half? HBO Phoenix asks me what weapon I'm wielding right now because she's watching the live video, which goes out live every Sunday evening at 6:30 Central Standard Time. And then also on Sundays at 7, the audio version Wednesdays at 7, the audio version comes out. But what I'm wielding is a back scratcher that has the scratcher itself is a skeleton claw. But yeah, it's great. It's a nice little back scratcher. It's just a back scratcher. Mr. Gargus says you should always love your family no matter what. And I think people define family in different ways. Blood doesn't necessarily mean their family. To me, Nooms is my family. I instruct my kids to call him their uncle, and I instruct my kids to call his kids cousins.
So yeah, sorry, it's the blood of the covenant.
Everybody,
the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. That's what it's.
Water of the womb.
Water of the womb. Yeah, I had the terms backwards, but the thought process. Because it's supposed to be the blood of the covenant, meaning that covenants you make are thicker than relational. Kind of like the Ferengi, you know. You can profit off of your family at any time.
A deal is a deal.
Yeah. So, yes, you always should love your family. I agree. And we should always be supportive of family. But like Phoenix had said above, you know, sometimes we build our own ohana. But yeah, you should always love and support your family, and you would hope that some of your closest friends come from your family, even if they wait, even if it's, you know, 30-something years before you actually fully connect with them, because you remember when they were 12 and annoying as opposed to the cool individual they ended up growing up into, you know. Not any real life examples we're using right now, but...
So also, on that same note, we've talked, not your note, but what they're talking about on the chat. We've talked about this in the past. I'm gonna read a scripture here. Matthew 10:34.
Oh yeah, got a yawn. Sorry.
All right, Matthew 10:34. Jesus says, "Don't assume that I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I came to turn a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies will be the members of his household." So, we can be raised. Your family is more important than anybody, and you should love your neighbor as yourself. All these things. But biblically, your family, your blood family, takes a back seat. And what's in front of you is loving God, loving your neighbor, and loving yourself. And I get some pushback sometimes on loving yourself, but if you go read it, how can you love your neighbor as yourself if you don't love yourself? It's just common sense that you have to love yourself in order to fulfill loving your neighbor. Because if you hate yourself and then you go to love your neighbor as you love yourself, when you get to the judgment, Jesus is going to be like, that's not what I meant. And Nooms would go, well, you're the one who made me a wise ass. So we're even.
Maybe you should have beaten the scholars to have them actually write it correctly, and we would have been fine. But he doesn't force his will upon us.
H. Phoenix says, because of the whole all Christians are brothers and sisters, or is that religious bull hockey? So the teaching about brothers and sisters in the faith most likely comes from a combining of the teachings to the ancient Israelites, that they were all brothers and sisters, and then the scriptures in the New Testament that talk about us being heirs of Christ, and if heirs, then co-heirs with Christ, and combining those two concepts to go, well, if we're all heirs of Christ, that means that we're all brothers and sisters, right? And in legally speaking, no. You can designate anyone in your will to be your heir. And there are usually, it's normal, for there to be stipulations on that heirhood. They must do this, or because they did this, or, it's just not, you don't just open a phone book and go, there's that person, I'm going to make that person my heir in my will. And so this is more of a conglomerate of ideas that isn't necessarily wrong. It's not necessarily bull, but it's not point blank something that is taught in the scripture.
Go to Matthew 12:48 through 50. That might be part of the thought process also. As you were saying. It's not going against what you said, just that is a reference.
Oh. Yeah. When Jesus' family was waiting outside to speak to him, and they were like, you need to come out and speak to your family. And he was like, who's my mother? Who are my brothers? Here are my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother. And that's more of a familial.
Yeah.
Yeah. So otherwise we'd be calling everybody mothers.
I call a lot of people mothers.
Never understood how that worked for someone with types of depression and low self-esteem, but have a servant's heart. Do what you can, even in small ways, to care for yourself, but care for others more. I don't matter what they need, and who they are matter more. So the idea is Jesus wouldn't condone you remaining in an unhealthy state for the sake of caring for someone else. Does that make sense? Like, we talk about it. Well, we've talked about it in the past. Tithing is awesome. You know, I believe you should tithe. I'm not going to say it's a law that you have to tithe, but I believe you should tithe. But we've also had the discussion, if you are on a fixed income and you are literally living off of your Social Security and it's not, you know, over and above what you need, you shouldn't be tithing. You should be taking care of yourself, right? You should be taking care of yourself so that you're healthy, because you can't serve the Lord if you're not healthy. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Like you talked about depression and low self-esteem and all of these things. You don't have to be perfect to serve, but at the same time, you shouldn't be starving yourself in order to feed your neighbor. You need to make sure that you're fed, and then feed your neighbor with your surplus. James says if you have one coat, that's good. If you have two coats, give the extra. Yeah. You don't give up the one coat that you have to take care of your neighbor. John, when John is baptizing, he starts talking to the people. Where is this? It's in the book of John. I know it is. Hold on. I'm going to read to you directly from John.
And I think part of what Zadie is talking about also is the struggle me and you have always, you know, when you say, I get a lot of slack for saying love your, I think that's partially what she's talking about also. You can't, those of us that have a hard time loving ourselves, but we have no problem loving others. Because I struggle, like the worst part about my week is actually this, because I have to look at myself, and I hate looking at myself, but I have to because the video feed comes from my computer, so I've got to make sure it looks okay. I hate looking at myself. So because of that, you know, but that, you know, that's neither here nor there, and we've had that conversation, as you said before, about we still have to try to continue to love ourselves because God said so.
Yeah, it's a commandment just as sacred as the commandments to love your neighbor and the commandment to love God.
And I do agree with what Zadie just said. There are some people that are extremely hard to love. I was actually discussing yesterday with someone, you know, protesters that are protesting inaccuracies are very hard to love. And but I'm supposed to show them love and not beat them for not agreeing with me. Mr. Groggy is not difficult to love. That's that self-hatred that we were just talking about.
Yeah, we were just talking about.
So,
yeah, I had somebody on TikTok responded to one of my posts, one of my comments about, you say I have to love my neighbor as myself, but do I have to love them on a Saturday morning when they're mowing their lawn at 7 a.m. and I had a late night? And I replied and I said, that sounds like one of those, it's a good thing Jesus loves you because I'm having a hard time right now situations where you just need to roll over and try to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had this specific thing popped into my head and I was like, yes, I should read that. And then I couldn't find where it is. So now I've got to go find where it is. And I don't want dead space, but here we are.
That's why I'm just talking about random things while we await that.
Randomosity. Zoroastrians.
We're not talking about Zoroastrians today.
No, but it I'm looking through, certain things and
I know.
trying to find where I am.
Just messing with you.
Yeah.
Do 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 do. So I gotta say a funny thing. Did I tell the stream the story about the Dragonite and the Charmander behind me? Or did I just tell you? Okay.
Did you tell me a story about
I did.
the Dragonite and the Charmander?
So right here, while Bill looks up that passage, there's
He's like, I did. I told you.
Charmander and a Charmeleon, and they're Build-A-Bears because I love Build-A-Bear, and these two are two of the ones that are actually mine. Well, my wife needed to use that printer that's under them, and so she put them on the floor. So they were on the floor for a couple days, and then I was fixing to do something, and I wanted them back here. So I said Dragonite. Dragonite and Charmander. Why are you correcting me, Phoenix? Anyway, so I put them on the floor, and I picked up the Charmander. It was fine. The Dragonite had its hood up, because it's got this little cute hood that came with it, because it's supposed to be like a Christmas version or something. So it's sitting in the corner, it's sitting down there on the floor, and Kaiju, the 55-pound black lab, decided that for some reason the Dragonite was actually going to attack me. And so as I got close to it, oh, sorry, I did not mean to say that. Thank you for correcting me. That it is not a Charmeleon, because it is not. It's a Dragonite. So I reach for and she starts growling, like, because she thinks as I'm reaching towards it, it's going to bite me. And I'm like, no, baby, look, they're stuffed. And she still just stared at it like, nah, daddy, that one's alive. And you're like, no, baby. And then she realized it was stuffed, and then asked if she could play with them, which she was told, of course, no, because she's a lab and they can tear straight through a stuffed animal like that.
Yeah.
So, did you find your verse?
I found it.
Yay!
Okay. So we're in Luke chapter 3, starting in verse 7. It's John the Baptist speaking. He says, he then said to the crowds who came out to be baptized by him, brood of vipers, who warned you to flee from the coming wrath? Therefore produce fruit consistent with repentance. And don't start saying to yourself, we have Abraham as our father. For I tell you that God is able to raise up children for Abraham from these stones. The axe is already at the root of the trees. Therefore, every tree that doesn't produce good fruit will be cut down and thrown into the fire. What then should we do? The crowds were asking him. He replied to them, the one who has 2 shirts must share with someone who has none. And the one who has food must do the same. And then he goes on to talk about tax collectors should only collect what they've been authorized to collect, which was a big problem at the time. Mm-hmm. Soldiers shouldn't bribe and frame people in order to take money from them. They should be satisfied with their wages for their work. But right there, even John, who has a different kind of ministry than Jesus does. Obviously, Jesus would give you the shirt off his back. He gave the skin off of it. Too soon? Too soon for those kind of jokes. It's been 2,000 years. It's not time yet. But John's like, if you've got 2 shirts, and you only need one, give the shirt to somebody who doesn't have any. Mm-hmm. If you've got more food than you can eat, and it's going to go bad, give the food that's going to go bad to those who don't have any. Mm-hmm. It's the same concept. If you're struggling with depression, like I do, Nooms does, so many people do, you can't give up working on yourself, working on loving yourself, and only focus on loving others and continue to stay hurting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that depression is curable, because obviously it's not. I'm not saying that something's wrong with you because you're not trying hard enough, you're not doing it right. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm saying that everyone deserves to be loved, and chief amongst those people who should be trying to love you is you. And then you should love your neighbor. If you are self-sacrificing and then hurting and hating yourself in order to love your neighbor better than yourself, then you're hurting yourself, not loving yourself. And then you're still not following the commandment that Jesus made. We have to be healthy. Not perfect. Healthy is a direction, not an arrival. And that's what I have to say about that. Do you have anything you want to add on, Nooms?
No.
Chat, Groggy, Phoenix, Zadie, Biggs, Roxanne, you guys have anything you want to add? Give it a couple seconds for them to even hear me ask the question. I can't tell if anybody's typing.
No, you can't.
Because they type on another platform and then they hit, enter.
Yeah.
So. H. Phoenix says, "Peace be with you." And I guess then my reply is, "And with you."
Nanu.
And may the odds be ever in your favor. Why are you doing the Vulcan greeting and then saying Nanu?
What? I know it's this when it's Nanu and this when it's, but it's just funny.
All right, so that's all we have for tonight. Be sure to join us on Sunday evenings at 6:30 Central Standard Time. That's in the PM, Prime Meridian.
Right.
And live long and prosper. And if you listen to our podcast, the audio version, obviously, with a transcription, that comes out on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. And so you can listen to that anywhere that you listen to podcasts. You can see us live as we record these episodes on Sunday nights on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And you can also be a part of the conversation via the chat interface, like you've heard us reference multiple times to this episode. People who were joining the conversation through those platforms. So, if you live in India or Portugal or one of the other places where they've passed a law for mandatory vaccinations, I recommend capitulation with the direction that your leaders have made law. Also, I recommend that when those people come to your door with those vaccinations to vaccinate you, that you remember that those are people going door to door in those countries, not evil monsters. I don't want to see any more of these videos of you guys taking swings and having to be held down by groups of people in order for civil servants to carry out the law of the land. Personally, if they mandated the vaccine in the United States, I would take the vaccine because they mandated it, because I believe the Bible tells me to follow the laws of the land, and I'd rather die upholding my morals. Not saying you will die if you get a vaccine. Nooms has had the vaccine. His wife has had the vaccine. He looks perfectly healthy. My mother's had the vaccine. She's perfectly healthy. Well, you know what I mean. In the terms of vaccination.
The vaccine didn't cause any new issues.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to cause vaccine hesitancy in any way. Just, make a wise decision. Do what's right for you. Do what's right for your family. If they mandate it, I'll get it. I would rather die upholding my principles of, yes, I followed Romans 13. to my best understanding of it, than to live knowing that I had bucked what I thought the Bible taught me was the right thing to do. So, all right. Mr. Groggy says he got a third arm when he got his vaccination. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the category of misinformation. And
the funny thing is Mr. Groggy actually works in the pharmaceutical industry. So it's even funnier if you know that, because it's like, oh, dude. Anyway.
So now we'll move on to our 30-second buffer, because some of these platforms require it. And actually, last week, you said my catchphrase at the very end. And I was like, dude, why'd you say my catchphrase? Why'd you say until next time after I said until next time? And you said, so it'll be on there. Except then you didn't wait long enough to cut the stream, and it dropped.
Yeah. It's just me being a butt.
All right. 30-second buffer. 30-second buffer.
Yep.
30-second buffer. Has it been 30 seconds yet? Of course not. That's how time works. 30-second buffer.
Yeah.
30-second buffer.
Right.
30-second buffer.
Yeah.
You guys have a great week.
Stay safe. Love you.
And until next time.